back because there's a bug in OBS, and now we should have audio on Twitch. There we go. All right, so let me mute that so I don't have to listen to myself. And Dementia Radio now, and recording in 3, 2, 1.
Recorded live on DementiaRadio.org, it's the Funny Music Podcast. Brought to you by FuMP.com, where you can download new free comedy songs twice a week. Now, here's your hosts, Devo Spice and the great Luke Ski.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FuMPCast. I lost my script. There's my script. Luke Ski is here. He stepped away from the computer for a moment, in a huff, actually.
And now I'm in this too.
Yay! So, yes, Luke is here. I am here. Joe Vent, a.k.a. the Right Reverend Jarvis T. Hornswaggle, is here. Hi, Joe.
Hello.
And Stephen Smith of Regdar and the Fighters is here. Hey, Stephen.
Hello. Glad to be here.
Excellent. All right. Welcome to episode 657 of the Funny Music Podcast for Thursday, January 19th. The title of this week's episode is Bizarre Whisper, and your job is to work that into our conversations somehow. So, let's do the thing.
Let's get caught up with what Devo and Luke have been up to since last week. Or else Devo, if Luke failed and didn't show up.
Hey, what?
No, he's right.
So, Luke, what you been up to?
Well, I had one of those birthdays that I've heard are popular.
Yay, birthdays!
Thank you. So yeah, I had a bunch of people over at a little party, and my roommate Santana invited a bunch of her friends too, so some of my friends met some of her friends, and we played Jackbox games and had a good old time. And I got to flex in front of some of Santana's friends, because I'm assuming you have seen at some point. By the way, is the thing switching so that when I'm talking, it's showing me?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. You've undoubtedly seen that greeting card thing that has Weird Al singing Happy Birthday, and then like a whole bunch of crazy stuff happens.
I did it for Jen for her birthday, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So that's like a greeting card thing you can order, and I'm sure Al has recorded some amount of video, but for some other amount of it, I'm sure that it has to do with like deep fake technology involving his voice and what little visuals they might need to do in order to make that a custom thing for everybody. But the point is that it's a thing that you can order for anybody. So it's like I don't want to front like me and Weird Al are best friends or whatever, because he's an acquaintance, he's awesome and everything, and I have on a handful of occasions emailed back and forth with him to the point where like somewhere back around like 2010, I ended up on a list where he sends off like he does like a Christmas card thing where it's like a picture of him with his family, and he sends it off to people every year. So it's like
this year's was amazing.
Yes. This year's Al put a picture of Daniel Radcliffe as Al in there instead of himself, which was great. So that's neat and all. So on my birthday, I got an email from Al with one of those American Greetings things where he does the birthday with my name and stuff. So I, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool. I mean, because obviously I know that he doesn't actually make one of those for every single person who orders them. Like, it's kind of like, that's kind of the gag is.
Wait, did it say Luke or did it say Luke Ski?
It said Luke.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, but it did come from that same email address where I get the Christmas card from him. So it's so, somehow, Al himself did send me this thing. He didn't custom make the video, but he did himself send me the video. So that's cool,
awesome.
Because I was like, because I've seen, some other people have gotten those too, and that's neat. But the fact that I got to show that video to a bunch of Santana's friends, and they were just kind of like, because they hadn't seen the card thing before, so for the initial reaction, they freaked out like, oh my god, I can't believe Weird Al made this. It's like, all right, calm down. Let me tell you the truth after the video's over. So that was fun. But like, even the fact that Al was cool enough to send me a thing, from the American Greetings Company. That's the other thing that annoyed me about it was when I got the video, there was a thing from that American Greetings Company for whatever they called that card thing.
Yeah.
That said, if you sign up for our website, then you can download it so that you can actually have the video to save. So I did that, and then I kept trying to go back and figure out how do you save it, and it wasn't there anywhere. So I don't know. I'll keep looking into it, but it's just kind of weird that was a thing. But later in that same party, because Kyle wanted me to basically because at these get-togethers, a lot of times, like, between me and Kyle and Tony and all the other creative people I know, we'll be like, if one of us has made some cool thing recently, we'll pull it up on YouTube and we'll watch it. So Kyle wanted me to show people at the party his Ground Keys and Miss Citrus animatic, and I'm like, of course. And one other of Santana's friends at the party, a voice actor named CJ, who happens to be the voice of one of Bo's dads on She-Ra, George.
Okay.
I got a fanboyed out when I found that. He's the guy who's like, what is this? He shows a tattoo. What does this say? It says lunch. Oh, I thought it said love. It's like one of the funniest jokes in the entire run of the series. Anyway, so he was at the show we did the other night where I did When You Wish Upon a Death Star. So he saw me perform the song, but I didn't have the video projection with me, and he was like telling his friends that he brought to the party about it, and I was like, I can show you the video later. So I showed the video, and basically one of the other people at the party is a friend of Santana's who works on the art side of things at Rick and Morty.
Okay.
And it's like, it's kind of like I've been Facebook friends with him for a while, but I've never really had a chance to like get to know him or whatever. So I'm like, cool, I'll finally get to know him a little bit at the party. So this guy was like, the video for When You Wish Upon a Death Star blew him the hell away. Like, I basically impressed the hell out of a lot of people with this thing. And he's like, after it was done, he was done watching it, he was like, and how many millions of views does that have? And I look at the thing on YouTube, 50,000, period. Not 50,000 million, just 50,000 in the past 9 years. That's how... But it was cool, like, I inadvertently put myself in a situation where I impressed the hell out of some people that, it was a good thing for me to impress, because, Hollywood is all about connections and all that jazz. So who knows, maybe this will lead to somebody thinking like, oh, hey, we should hire this guy to be an artist because somebody saw him do a thing at a party that was impressive. I don't know.
Hey, that's how those things happen. You never know.
Oh, and Santana got me the last Transformer I needed of the Transformers the Movie 86 Studio Series, Dinobot Sludge. So I now have all of them, and at some point I'm going to open them all up and buy a new shelf and have them all lined up because they're epic as hell.
Nice.
And then Kyle got me some cute little anime action figures of the three main characters from Spy Family and also of Lum from Urusei Yatsura. So, yay for... So basically every present I got is some form of an anime thing. So, anything else interesting happened this past week? Not super particularly. Oh, other than it's like this is the continuing saga of Luke's trying to, get his, Medi-Cal, insurance, the place where I'm getting my therapy and my meds from. I'm trying to get this company to take me seriously and get me to where I need to be within them, to have somebody give me the proper testing to see if I can get diagnosed whether or not I actually have autism. And I finally got, one of them to, basically, I guess I complained enough in the monthly survey I'm supposed to fill out that she finally sent me like a form of a thing to fill out where it's like, okay, answer these 10 questions, and if you score more than 6, then we can refer you to an autism test. And I scored 8. And I did that without cheating. I could have cheated very easily, but I didn't. So hopefully that will lead to me actually having something happen along those lines, because among many other reasons, if I have an official diagnosis that I have autism, I can, mention that when I apply for jobs as a disability, which will hopefully help me get jobs, because most of these studios need to hire a certain percentage of people that have disabilities. So it will, give me that much more of, an advantage as I, continue to try to find a stupid, full-time studio storyboarding job out here. So that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
I had a crappy weekend where I was once again, rescuing people at work from a terrible web design job. I was supposed to be off Friday and then for a swim meet, and then there was the rest of the swim meet was Saturday and other stuff going on Sunday, and instead I worked Friday and then worked Saturday until 3:30 in the morning and then worked Sunday until 4 in the morning. So that was fun. We had a late Christmas with the in-laws on Sunday. They came over here, and we did the gift exchange thing. That was fun. Although, it was mostly me.
You could do a song parody. Late Christmas with my in-laws.
But it was like I spent like 45 minutes chatting with them, and then I'm like, I got to get back to this website, and I sat on the couch and pulled up my laptop. I ordered a new computer because Apple announced their new M2 MacBook Pros the other day, and I had money saved up from last November when I was expecting them to announce the new M2s, and they didn't. So then it was like, hey, they have a computer I want to buy. I have money. Here, take my money. So I should be getting a new computer in about 2 weeks. So
money can be exchanged for goods and services.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. And I've been listening to the recordings from FuMPFest because I still need to put together the 2021 compilation album, and I realized I hadn't listened to it in a long time, so I picked up where I left off. And going along, and I got to relive the insanity that was dumb parody ideas earlier today. That was a trip. Gotta say, that whole hour thing was just batshit insane. Between my father with the fake beards, Shoebox's amazing song, Breakman Z's proposal. It was a wild time.
Just be careful with the sound levels, because we want to make sure people can. I know it's a strange event, but we want to make sure they hear more than a bizarre whisper.
Oh, dude! Didn't even get a chance.
Everyone's allowed to say it as often as they want.
All right. So Steven, what have you been up to?
Hitting the wrong buttons. That's what I've been up to. I suppose last time I was on the FuMP was about a year ago, so I have been doing many things, so many that it's always weird when you do something a year apart and you're like, oh, now I have to remember what everything is, what's actually important. So we got a new Regdar album that came out this past year. We just Repossess the Sky Part 1, which features 2 previous FuMP songs. Factoids about web fonts and Mall Goth Cop, and I think Factoids about web fonts was on the FuMP.
Yes,
right?
It was. I love that song.
Oh, thank you. I'm surprised that one ended up being a bit of a sleeper hit on me. Like, it was very much a throwaway song when I wrote it. It was like, just like throw a bunch of jokes down for 2.5 minutes, it'll be great. And then everybody's like, oh, this is one of the best songs you've ever written, Steve. Like, oh, okay.
I don't know if I've added that album to the comedy releases spreadsheet that I keep track of, so I will do that.
That would be cool. Thank you.
I don't think anyone besides me looks at it, but it's nice to have a reference.
Yeah, I refer to it definitely.
Cool.
I also wanted to say, Stephen Smith, I'm sorry, the correct answer was I've been preparing for the Regdar and the Fighters concert at MarsCon 2023.
This is true. Yeah. Full disclosure, I actually haven't prepared for that in any reasonable way. Oh yeah, I should talk to you offline if you want any other programming, because that is a thing I am available to do if there needs to be more of that. Actually, at one point, I tried to get like a whole thing going with like Nuclear Bubble Rap and Regdar and the Fighters and all the other comedy bands in Nashville. Be like, we should be a community and we should like book festivals and conventions and things like that. And then nobody else wanted to do anything except I did web design.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did form a thing. It's called Needle Juice Records.
That's true. Although I didn't form that. That just happened otherwise. There has been much discussion of booking a Needle Fest where we just get a bunch of Needle Juice bands and do a festival, which I keep on saying, like, look, get the 3 or 4 bands that are in Nashville and we just book one of the local bars and pay them the $100 that it costs to do that. We call that a festival.
Do it at the Bluebird. Have Steve Goody host it. You know.
Oh, yeah. I've never played the Bluebird before. I've only ever been in there once, and it was open mic night, and that was awful. I don't know if you saw the show Nashville, but apparently a lot of people did and took their acoustic guitars and showed up in Nashville every Monday night for years to try to play the open mic.
Nice. I have not seen that show. We talked about it when Steve was on, though.
Yeah, Steve did a song about it. So
yeah.
I also have not seen it, but I went to the Bluebird once, and it was crowded. Crowded's a good way to describe it.
Okay. Never been there. I will someday, I'm sure. So, Joe, welcome back. What have you been up to?
Not much holiday stuff. I mean, I've been doing a lot of open mics at the Bluebird in Nashville. So that's been going well.
That's fun. That's great. You know, it's good to hear.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of good acts. You really would be surprised. Yeah, not a lot of audience, but just a lot of people who go up and go sit down, you know.
That is the audience, is the other performers. I've done the shows like that.
I can't tell if you're making this up, but you're entirely accurate.
Well, I have been to the Bluebird. I've never done an open mic there. I've never done an open mic because I hate them.
It is one of those places, they take 40 signups, and it's not that big of a room, so 40 people signed up, half of them have a +1, and the room is full.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's the whole, let's book 5 bands for the show, you know. We'll definitely be outnumbered.
I went to an open mic in New York City once to perform, and like they put your name in a hat and then assigned you a number at random, and I think I got number 87, and it was something like that, and I did the math of each person doing, 5 minutes on stage, and I'm like, this was like at 9:30 at night, and I'm like, I'm not going to get on stage until 4:30 in the morning, and I just walked out. I was like I'm not doing this.
See, that's what the guys at 88 and 89 are counting on.
Yeah, right.
They're like, I won't go on until 4, but if like 60 other people back out, that's my moment.
Yeah.
I did a stand-up open mic night a couple months ago, and I actually I intend to start a new podcast with where I have like rotating other guests that I talk to, and I've only recorded one segment for it so far, and it was with Kyle where I talked about this night. So at some point, if I ever have spare time, this podcast will exist, and that audio from October will be heard. But the point is that I showed up early for the open mic night so I could make sure I could get a good slot to sign up on the list. And the list was in like 1 through 20. I put like myself at number 8 or so just because I wanted to make sure I didn't go up first, but didn't go up super late and then in the 20 on the list. And then the show started, and it's like, my set went fine enough for me trying out stand-up material or whatever. But as the night kept going, it just seemed like at some point I just realized I think there have been more than 20 up here. And as I had to go to the bathroom, so I got up and went to go to the bathroom, and I said, like, how many more people are on this list? And I looked at it. Basically, the point is, by the end of the night, they had at least 36 people go up, and the open mic night lasted like 4 hours and 9 minutes. And I was kind of stuck being there for the entire thing because I after the bar and it was taking place inside a bar inside a bowling alley. So I think the World Series was happening at the time, and at some point, part of the way through the show, a bunch of rando people came in and were hanging out at the bar because they were watching the end of one of the World Series games. So the ambient noise of people talking at the bar was louder than the people speaking at the microphones doing the comedy. So I moved myself up closer to the stage so I could hear better. But then it turned into I was the only person close enough to the stage that the comic performing could like see the person. So I had to be forced to like maintain eye contact with every person performing. So like I was the life raft for every person at the open mic night so that they knew at least one person was actually paying attention to anything they were saying. So that made it like I don't want to leave because I don't want anyone to think like, well, I'm the guy that decided, he's not worth it and I'm going to leave, or he or she, she or whatever. So that's how I ended up stuck there for the entire like 8 p.m. till like just past midnight. And it was just, it was brutal. I mean, so, I haven't done an open mic night since then. And I want to like look into others in the area so that I have the ability to be like other people and be in the room but still have the ability to leave whenever I want. So I don't end up forced to being stuck there for 4.5,
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in those situations.
After the 20th performer, that's when you start asking everyone to do their type 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I go to the Folk Alliance convention for work, and the first time I went, I was taking over for another guy, and he said, one warning. So I don't. Have any of you guys ever been to the Folk Alliance or know what it is or anything?
I've heard of it. I've never been there.
Yeah, it's a completely different subculture. I mean, it's pretty big for what it is. But anyway, they take over like 2 floors of a commercial hotel, like the Westin in Kansas City is where it is next week. And I've gone to it in Montreal and a few other places, New Orleans. And the guy who preceded me at the company who went said, I should finish that. When they take over these floors, every room is a host room for showcases. Mm-hmm. So these, there's a billion different folk bands and musicians, and they'll go in and they'll have like a set list of 6 bands that night. Or when I say bands, it's acts, But sometimes you'll go and just people are teaming out of this small room to see whoever the hot, buzz band is or whatever, buzz act. But if you do it wrong, you'll go into a room and it's just the performer in a hotel room standing there singing whatever it is he or she is singing, and you're the only other person there and you can't leave.
Yeah.
And my friend Brett, who went the year before me, said he found out the hard way. He had to go sit up front when he got in, and then the act started and she was just horrible. Comically horrible, but not on purpose. And he said at once he realized he turned to the left and the right, and it was a full room and he was the only person left in there, staring up at her.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
So I've learned how to avoid that.
Oh, by the way, at my party, when we were playing Jackbox games, we were playing Fibbage 4. One of the questions was about the Ohio Valley Folk Festival.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So that kind of melted my brain just to see that was a question. And it was basically, the question was basically, this, it's the point of the game is that it asks a trivia question that is like, you fill in the blank with whatever you think the answer is, but if you don't know what the answer is, then you have to try to make up a lie that you think will convince other people that that's what the actual answer is. So, so I typed in my lie knowing that, okay, I know what the answer is. I want to pull it up on Facebook because I want to read it verbatim and make sure I got the bit correct. Sorry. Let's see, photos. Because I'm happy that my phone was close enough that I could grab it and snapped pictures quick enough so that I actually had photo records of this. Yeah, so it said, since 1986, fans of, quote, filking, quote, have attended the Ohio Valley Folk Festival to celebrate their combined love of folk music and blank. And of course, the correct answer is science fiction. But the answer I put as my lie was closed-minded attitudes towards hip-hop music.
That's right. I saw you post that online. That was great.
And the best part was that multiple people at the party picked that. So I don't know if they picked that because they thought it was the funniest or if they actually thought that was the answer. But it's from my experience, it certainly isn't a lie. So anyway.
All right. So Joe, you posted a song.
Yes.
Give us a quick intro. We'll give it a listen.
Okay, I should get better at this, really. And I know this question is coming. I know this is happening, but
why you're here
again with my Right Reverend Jarvis T Hornswaggle character, just presenting new funny little situations and his take on them. In this case, it's on the women, if you will. In this case, maybe they're women that you meet on the road and that you always do. So.
All right, here is Road Skank by the Right Reverend Jarvis T. Hornswaggle. Oops, that's the wrong button.
Well, this circus life has its pros and cons. We come to town, the next day we're gone. Me and the fellas, we don't stay long. We've danced our dance, we've sung our songs. It's an honor to come and meet you folks, spin our tales and tell our jokes for all the children, gals and blokes. See what all of this provokes, but the thing that always keeps us sane when we're leaving town again, it's the ladies waiting at the train who want to help us ease our pain. Road Skank, Road Skank, Road Skank. Although it does not affect the act, we just can't wait to hurry back to the hotel or the old train station. Don't want to keep you ladies waiting. You could say they're short on morals, and on that count you'll get no quarrels. We won't rest on our road laurels, we'll keep entertaining those lovely corals. Road Skank, Road Skank, Road Skank. Road Skank. Just keep 'em coming. Road Skank. Our senses humming. Road Skank. Working on our plumbing. And if you feel your penicillin, well, the doc can prescribe penicillin if you're willing, yeah. Say if you get them crabs a snapping, don't ask yourself how did this happen, 'cause there's no heroes, only villains. When you've got that burning feeling, though it does not affect the act, we just can't wait to hurry back to the hotel or the old train station. Don't want to keep you ladies waiting. You can say they're short on morals, and on that count you'll get no quarrels. We won't rest on our road laurels, we'll keep entertaining those lovely corals. Road Skank, Road Skank, Road Skank. Road Skank. Just keep 'em coming. Road Skank. Our senses humming. Road Skank. Working on our plumbing. Take it away.
So something just occurred to me while I was listening to this song. Does this character play like one of those old-timey one-man band things with like the bass drum on the back and like the cymbals between the knees and the accordion and whatever, like the trumpet on the side? And
yeah, I mean that's one version of that.
Okay.
Of the backstory of the character in my mind only. If anybody wants to draw it, go right ahead. But yeah, you know, the whole project is kind of me channeling this imaginary individual. Nothing groundbreaking then, but it's just like my version of whatever this guy is. And what you just described is kind of what I had in my mind with that one, with kind of the repetitive percussion and stuff like that you could only do if you were one person doing it.
Yeah.
So everybody out there writing your Reverend T Hornswaggle fanfic, you need to adjust your plots at this point.
Exactly. Yeah. If you've gone down the wrong road, it's going to have to need a rewrite. But and make sure there's lots of sex.
So is he from like
is it
what?
possible?
Like,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, is he from like the 1910s or something? Around
Yeah,
there?
10s, 20s.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I just always thought that the sound of some of those, not even the novelty songs from that era, but the early recording era, but just kind of the approach was always funny, like subliminally funny, even if it didn't mean to be.
Mm-hmm.
And just you think of the outrageous stuff. I mean, it's not, I mean, people do it with metal, like Steel Panther and stuff like that, but it's like just wanted to do it with that character. And I had just these song ideas, no matter what I tried to do in my serious musical career, you just can't get the inspirato. I would always find ideas for this character. So, and then once it kind of developed, now they just kind of flood out, like awesome. So much diarrhea.
Yes. What were you going to say, Steve?
I was going to ask, is it possible to, listening to the tracks, reverse engineer exactly how this one-man band is structured? Like, is it cymbals between the knees, or does he have like a foot swing for that cymbal crash?
I mean, I want to leave that up to the interpreter,
It's up to the illustrator's imagination.
I don't want to ruin anybody's childhood or anything by not that way.
Everyone is constructing their own Dick Van Dyke, Mary Poppins thing at home. Like, wait, so
yeah, there you go. That's fine. That works. No, my friend Ro, who does all my artwork so far anyway, she just she either finds clip art or stock photography, and she's always kind of put my face on that, or she's done some drawings. But I mean, it's everybody. I grew up seeing Leon Redbone on 70s TV and Sesame Street and stuff, and I always thought that was a funny character, and that's kind of what he was doing, and I'm kind of stealing what he was doing, but just kind of making it clueless and naughty and dirty, like it probably should have been.
If anyone doesn't know who Leon Redbone is, he did the theme to Mr. Belvedere.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Straight down to China, I never met her before. Who cares?
I think he also did detergent commercials in his waning years too, but
doesn't everybody?
That Childish Gambino song about him, right?
I don't know.
I doubt it. There's a Childish Gambino song called Redbone, though.
Oh, it could be about that early 70s Native American rock band.
There's also there's a pizza chain in the Midwest that's called Rocky Rococo. And first of all, the name Rocky Rococo is from a Firesign Theater series of albums. And the mascot that they've made looks exactly like Leon Redbone.
He kind of does.
It's like, I mean, whenever they had the guy in the commercial, he always kind of talked like this, so he didn't sound like Leon Redbone. But every time I would see Leon Redbone for a split second, I would think, Rocky Rococo. Oh, it's Leon Redbone.
Somehow the mascot was made by the only Midwesterner who's never met an Italian person.
So be sure to go see Chris Pratt in the Super Mario Brothers movie. Yeah.
I actually live between two Rocky Rococos, Luke. So.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Where do you live?
I live in Hales Corners, Wisconsin.
Oh, cool. I grew up in Lake Geneva. So
I know you were saying I have a gig there this next month, actually.
Wait, Lake Geneva allows comedy music now? How does that happen?
No, it's not. No. It's with another band.
They ran me out of that town. No.
They were waiting for you to leave, and then now it's the comedy music center of the Midwest.
No, it's with the band that he actually makes money with, so that's where he's going.
Well, that's not true either.
So, a little behind the scenes trivia. You actually submitted this before you submitted Santa Claus as a Penis, and it was approved. And we were like, well, he's posting a Christmas song. If we should probably schedule that one first. So this song's kind of been in the queue for a couple of months now.
Yeah, I kind of had that in the can. I was like, wait, Santa Claus is a penis? That won't go over very well in February. It just barely went over at all in December.
Maybe. But yeah, I enjoyed this song. I love the whole concept of the guy and the era, because the old timey music is always fun, especially with comedy.
And I'm learning how to play it, which is kind of fun. Like otherwise, I wouldn't just sit around trying to learn that stuff. And I have limitations. Like I have a lot of friends who are like gypsy jazz guitar players and stuff, and I don't have the patience for that. It's too many chords, too many and it kind of makes me anxious. But I do like that kind of beat, the stuff, that shuffly stuff that I've done so far.
So what do you do to get this old-timey sound?
Well, instrumentally, I just try to emulate whatever you hear. Like I'll listen to a few records and go, wow. And, in those old recordings, it's kind of hard to tell what instruments are, if in a lot of them, it sounds like a ball of sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I was never like a band nerd in high school and stuff, so I didn't know what a tuba was compared to a whatever, So I'm doing some backwards learning on that. But so I'll just try and find a few of those and do it in Logic. Just play the voices they have in there, and actually the drums. That's all the drums are, is Logic Drummer. So,
okay.
And then there's a preset megaphone setting on one of the EQs, and it's almost perfect. I just have to tweak it a little bit so it doesn't sound too severe.
Yeah, you have to that old timey recordings. They were very mid range. There wasn't a lot of high and lows, so you just got to kind of chop off the high and lows, and you'll get that sound.
Yeah, it's real tough though. Like trying to get something. I suppose I don't need it, but to get the low end, you know what I mean? Because if you're basically doing a high pass at around 200 or something, so getting the bass instrument, whether it's a tuba or a bass trombone or whatever, to actually be audible has been a challenge. But
well, it sounds great.
Well, thank you.
I enjoy it. I would love to see like an animated cartoon of this character, like doing something. I don't even know what, but I would love to see that. So get to work on that.
Shout out to all the FuMP people, because I think I talked to you about this. I was trying to get a video for Santa Claus song, but it never happened. And I know nothing about animation or video in general.
He said, as Luke is literally storyboarding an animatic.
There you go.
Did anyone else see the new Weird Al music video today?
Yes.
I'm incredibly frustrated that the drums were animated so badly. It's like that's not what he's playing at all, not even remotely.
I just thought it was odd that the artistic choice was to make Al every member of the band. I'm like, is it that hard to draw, John?
That's what that was my takeaway too. I didn't have a problem with the drumming, but I was like, why is Al every member of the band? I mean, like, it's not like the other members of the band are hard to find pictures of,
Honestly, it was a ska song anyway. You should have had 4 Als and all the regular members of the band.
Yeah. Oh well. So
and isn't the type of dance they do called skanking?
Maybe.
I thought that's what it was.
It is good. Good segue back to the topic at hand.
That's a callback. If you hadn't said it, I would have heard it in a bizarre whisper.
Ah!
That was clunky, but I got it in.
Also, it would be if there was a follow-up just for the Dr. Demento crowd, because other people would probably get deeply offended of it. You could do a song, Dead Skank in the Middle of the Road.
Little loud Marine with the third program. Actually, that could,
dumb parody ideas. All right, so do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Nah.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about submitting, if not the next Hornswaggle song. I've got a few other kind of ideas I'm working on. I mean, that's not really plugging something. I'm just saying what I'm going to do. I'm in a band called the Hungry Williams, 50s R&B kind of thing. And I don't know, man. That's it. Don't see Avatar.
Don't worry, I was already planning to not see Avatar.
There you go.
Reverse plugs.
See Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Or Megan. Megan is good too.
I need to see Megan. I've heard it's hilarious.
I went on Tuesday night. I wouldn't call it hilarious, but it's quite good. All right. We're gonna move on to news and tour dates and stuff. Are you gonna stick around for the rest of the show, or are you taking off?
I'll stick around.
Okay. Let's do some news.
This is the FuMP.
Hey, Chipotle, all you had to do was melt some cheese into a bowl and turn it into goo. How you messed it up, but we would never really know. Tu queso no es bueno en mi holy oli yo.
He will sit out, it goes round and round. They all watch in awe. It hangs all the way to the ground. It cannot be stopped. No one makes a sound, they're hypnotized.
Now the show itself is a walking dead. Well, I don't want no dead people. Won't want those dead.
That's the Funny Music Project at thefump.com. THEFUMP.com.
Time for funny music news. Something.
In the news, as we just mentioned, Weird Al Yankovic has a new video out for your horoscope for today. This is an official video that has been released for 20 years late? When did that song come out?
99.
So 24 years ago. Yeah, it's a great video. It's animated for some reason to look like an old Hanna-Barbera cartoon, and I think it looks great. It's available on Al's official YouTube channel, and I don't know anything else to say about it. It's really well done, and done in 4:3 even to look like an old cartoon.
It was done to. I'm pretty sure it was made to promote that Illustrated Al graphic novel that's coming out.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Or is already out.
And Reformed Horror's album came out last Friday, Pissin' in the Wind, Songs to Make You Wet, and immediately went to #1 on the comedy charts. So congratulations, Reformed Horrors. I'm not sure which comedy charts. I'm suspecting it's iTunes. Because of the screenshot they posted. But still, that's awesome nonetheless. And that's all the news I got. Luke, you got any MarsCon news or anything?
I'm just now trying to tabulate the update on the fundraiser, but get back to me on that later in the show.
Okay. Tour dates. On Sundays, Steve Goody hosting at the Bluebird in Nashville, Tennessee. Thursdays online, I forgot to check whether that was Thursdays or Mondays. Steve Goody and Brad Tassel at virtualcomedyshow.com. On the 21st in Petaluma, California, Phil Johnson at Roadside Attraction. And the 27th and 28th in Alameda, California, Phil Johnson at Roadside Attraction. And that's it for tour dates. Should I stall some more?
No, keep going with the show. It's going to take me a little bit. I'm just going to invent a spreadsheet so I don't have to deal with this in future episodes.
Okay. Spreadsheets exist. You don't have to invent them.
There's these things called wheels, too. You should check them out.
And fire. Fire is awesome.
Fire!
That fire episode of the new Beavis and Butthead where the fire talks back to him and he's like, this fire sucks. I think that was so good. All right. Steven.
Hello.
You posted a song.
I did.
Give us a quick intro to this one and we'll give it a listen.
So the year is 2001. 9/11 has just happened, and Gerard Way has started My Chemical Romance, and everybody's wearing skinny jeans. But I live in Wisconsin, where there's a bunch of corn-fed German farm kids who do not look good in skinny jeans. So instead, Hot Topic introduces what I lovingly started calling Fat Kid Emo Pants, which are somewhere between regular jeans and Jinkos, but jet black and with 3 wallet chains each. So that was the alternative thing that, us us fat Wisconsinites wore during our emo phases. And this is a reboot of that song since pop punk and emo came back in the last 3 years all of a sudden. So I was like, all right, well, let me re-record the song that I wrote, a decade plus ago.
All right, here is Fat Kid Emo Pants by Regdar and the Fighters.
Wait. We got to come up with some studio banter for the top of the track.
Long ago in high school, I was a scrawny whiner. Then I went to college, gained freshman 15. I need a whole new wardrobe that's big enough to fit me. Shows my friends that I'm still just an angsty teen. I need my fat kid emo pants, black and white covered in chains. I need my fat kid emo pants, they weigh me down till I can't dance. My fat kid emo pants. I'm so mad at my girlfriend, she won't loan me her makeup. This is such a betrayal, I think I'm gonna die. She says I'm an adult now, so I should just buy my own. She doesn't understand the things I feel inside. I need my fat kid emo pants, black and white covered in chains. I need my fat kid emo pants. I am just way too sad to dance in my fat kid emo pants. Every night I cut myself to sleep, 'cause you're not there. It's too late, I have outgrown you, if you don't care. I need my fat kid emo pants, black and white covered in chains. I need my fat kid emo pants. Here and now I take my stance in my fat kid emo pants.
All right, so this is a re-recording of the song. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Full re-record. The original iteration of the band before Regdar was the computer, I recorded a version of it in my bedroom studio like 2007 or 8, but I was never happy with it. So when all those recordings got memory hold, the third redesign of the website, I just sort of let that one disappear and rebooted it entirely.
But you were still Regdar and the Fighters back then.
Yes, the Regdar and the Fighters started in 2007, but I didn't come up with the idea of Regdar as the semi-autonomous computer. The one-man band thing, except, with software and a DDR pad instead of working hard. I didn't come up with that until 2008 or 9.
Okay. That's pretty cool. So what originally inspired this song?
As I said, it was my friends, were these corn-fed farm kids in Wisconsin who loved to shop at Hot Topic and wanted to be emo kids, but didn't have the skinny physique to wear skinny jeans, so they bought these big old pants instead, and I just thought they were very funny. It's one of the few songs that's a little more autobiographical than normal in that I gained a ton of weight when I went to college. I didn't like food as a kid, and then I went to college and they had an all-you-can-eat cafeteria, and so I just had sherbet floats for lunch every day until I gained 30 pounds.
Yeah, I had the
gained
same
a bunch
problem.
of COVID weight, so it was like, okay, well, I'm fat again. It's time to re-record this song.
Do you still have the emo pants?
No, I just buy cheap Wranglers off Amazon. I'm not willing to put that much effort into my pants.
Yeah, I did. I had the same problem in college with the cafeteria with the buffet, and it was but the difference was when college there was a lot of walking around campus. The dorms were on one side of the campus, and the classes were on the other, and there was a walkway in the middle that was lovingly called the quarter mile, even though it was actually longer than that. And this was in Rochester, New York, during, the winter tundra that they had. You're walking like through seemingly Siberia as, trying to get to class. So I didn't gain too much weight when I went to college, but I still ate way too much.
Yeah. So walking should have been fine for me because I went to UW Eau Claire, an hour from Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the dorms are separated from the rest of the school by a hill. So you can shortcut the hill by taking the stairs, which was probably about 6 stories, just like a 6-story straight shot up the stairs, or you could take the hill that wound around instead. So I was doing that 2-3 times a day. You'd think I would have put on a bunch of leg muscle instead of a gut, but turns out no.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, well, that's what happens. You can only exercise so much, and the food is. They always say it's easier not to eat the donut than it is to burn the calories in the donut. But you know how hard it is to not eat a donut when donuts are right there. Man,
donuts are good.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I think it's funny that you people still say freshman 15, but I always thought it was freshman 40. Maybe it's because I too live in Wisconsin.
I mean, that's pretty close to what it was for me, but I had always heard 15.
Yeah, I heard 15 too, but I think I gained a little more than 15. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's a Wisconsin thing that it's more than that, because I think you go through hormonal changes in your late teens to early 20s where you tend to just like grow a little bit more in stature. So putting on 15 pounds is normal if you live a normal life, but then college kids, especially in Wisconsin, put on more.
Well, when I was in college, it was because beer was $1 a glass on campus, so a cup, I should say.
They sold beer on campus?
Oh, yeah.
I think, most of the UW system sells beer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't start drinking until I was out of college, really, but like my parents still live in Platteville, so like I would go visit them and there'd be an on-campus event. I'd be like, oh, I guess I'll swing by the bar while I'm here.
RIT wasn't a dry campus. There were a couple of like establishments. There were a couple of restaurants on campus that sold alcohol, I think, but the stupidest thing was like you weren't allowed to have alcohol in the dorms, but the basement wasn't considered part of the dorms. So like the frats all had their parties in the basement because that somehow got around the rule that they weren't allowed to have alcohol in the building. And I was like, what?
That sounds legit.
Yeah, totally fine. I went to 2 frat parties. It was wall-to-wall people standing around, drinking and going, woo! All night long. And I was like, I'm out. This is not my scene. I just not my idea of fun.
That sounds like the same legal chicanery that's like, oh, well, we're opening our riverboat casino.
Yes.
That looks like a building. Well, we have water from the river technically going under the building, so technically it's a boat.
Yeah.
But come give us your money.
Yeah.
It was probably some law students or whatever, pre-law kids who go, you know what we should do? Let's pass some crazy law in the on campus that the basements aren't part of the dorms.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was with it. I just thought it was remarkably stupid. But hey, whatever. You do your alcohol poisoning, I'll be fine.
And they did.
And they did. Yeah. Well, yeah. One of my wife's friends got taken away in an ambulance one night, sophomore year. That was, that was fun.
Fun. In Dubuque, Iowa, there's an amazing coffee shop called Monk's Cafe Pub that whenever I used to hang out there, it was always a constant battle back and forth between them and the city as to whether or not they were a coffee shop or a bar.
Okay.
Because, they were a coffee shop. They sold coffee. They sold little sandwiches and baked goods all day. And then it just so happened that they also had a liquor license.
Did the liquor license come with the property?
Kids to be able to come to their open mic night, but not often were they allowed.
Did the liquor license come with the property? Because that was the other thing I never understood. If you have, like, a liquor license doesn't go with the establishment that sells it. It goes with the property. So if you, like, sell your business and it becomes like a laundromat, the laundromat can have a liquor license because it's...
That sounds like the best laundromat ever.
That sounds like a laundromat in Madison, Wisconsin.
That does.
There actually wasn't there one in
Yep.
Cincinnati? I thought Cincinnati, but go ahead.
Oh yeah, there's a. I remember there was one just off of State Street in Madison. So you could do your laundry, drink, go to State Street, say hi to Art Paul, hear him do a few songs. It was great.
Is that where you got burritos the size of your head? Was it on Bourbon Street?
Oh, most definitely.
I remember seeing those advertised in The Onion back when it was a physical thing.
Yeah, it was a chain. I don't remember the name of the restaurant though, but they were massive.
Yeah.
Here in Nashville, there's a Sublime tribute band called 40 Ounce Burrito that just every time I see one of their posters, I get disappointed. I see 40 Ounce Burrito, I'm like, yes, Sublime tribute. No.
I was gonna say, yeah.
There was a band at RIT when I was there called Free Pizza, and their their flyers were all over campus, and they got so many people to their shows. But all right, so are you ready for? You said you haven't done any prep for MarsCon. Are you excited for MarsCon at least?
I am. Yeah, it should be fun. Nice thing about being a one-man band is preparing for a show is pretty straightforward. I just practice as much as I need to and then show up. But Nuclear Bubble Wrap is also playing, so we're gonna have to do a couple of rehearsals for that. I think we're trying to do some new material that we haven't been doing much lately. We've definitely been doing some new stuff, new old stuff that hasn't been done live in a long time for our last couple shows, and I think at least some of that will happen at MarsCon.
I'm looking for it. My biggest challenge was trying to remember that it is Regdar and not Regdar. I can't tell you how many times I had to go back and proofreading things. It's like, damn it, I did it again.
At least you're not calling it Ragnar. That's a Dragon Quest totally different series.
All right, so do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Well, again, Repossess the Sky Part 1, our latest album, is available on thefump.com, as well as Needle Juice Records. And if you want to keep up with what Regdar and the Fighters are up to and get all of our songs as we release them, you can follow us on our Patreon at patreon.com/vomithatsteve or regdarandthefighters.com. Just everything's on regdarandthefighters.com. I'm a web designer or web dev by day, so...
Yeah, me too.
I at least have basic websites.
Vomit Hat Steve?
Vomit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. My name is Stephen Smith. I am not able to get my actual name as my account name on anything, but nobody has ever attempted to snipe Vomit Hat Steve on any platform.
Do you get any residuals from the TV show American Dad?
No. There's a lot of other Steve Smiths out there, some of them more famous than me. There's that basketball commentator. There's the guy from Red Green. Several other athletes.
Isn't there a famous British drummer?
Stephen Smith? Quite possibly.
Yeah. I thought maybe
Oh, yeah, Stephen Smith, the famous drummer. Yeah, him.
I think he was in Oasis. Aren't they famous?
I was talking to my dad, Bob Smith, about Googling your own name once. He was like, I was Googling my name. It's like, you were not Googling your name. Bob Smith does not return any results about you.
Wow, I didn't know I invented that.
That just shows you how ahead of its time Doctor Who was, because he knew that he needed to have a name that was not Googleable so that nobody would be able to find him on the internet. John Smith.
Yes.
Googling your own name. I died when? And again in the 1800s? I don't remember this at all.
All right. Let's do some feedback.
Making the internet absolutely ridiculous. Dementia Radio. www.dementiaradio.org. Port 8027.
Please hang up and try again.
This is the part where there's feedback. Feedback. You know that segment of the show we do about now? Feedback. Feedback.
Alvarant wrote, Renaissance Fair performer Menage a Moi did a song similar to Bob's called She Was Only Fucking, about the difference between making love and having sex. It's not as funny as Bob's, but you may want to consider it for the Valentine's Day edition of the FuMP playlist. Thank you, Alvarant. I will make a note of that. And...
Draconis alert. Draconis alert. Draconis alert.
Draconis wrote, this week's FuMP Mash is Regdar versus Reverend Hornswaggle for the title match versus Tile Guy at the MarsCon SmackDown, sponsored by Gilbert's Pail of Shoes, and I can't believe it's not Kyle. Thank you, Draconis. And that's all the feedback we got for this week. Let's do some teasing.
Teasing. He's a teasing kind of guy. And I have a joke. Yeah.
Tomorrow's song is by TV's Kyle.
Yeah!
And Tuesday's song is by Ookla the Mock.
Double yeah!
All right, and I need a topic for this week's Spotify FuMP playlist. So, Joe, Steven, any suggestions? Something I can make like roughly a 30-minute playlist of comedy songs about.
Well, I haven't said Bizarre Whisper yet, so I'm going to just toss that one out there.
I haven't said Vomit yet, but Steve said it earlier. So.
I haven't said go to MarsConComedy.com and go click on the shop page to purchase the MarsCon 2023 fundraiser album yet.
You know what? I'm going to make the playlist MarsCon artists because there's enough of them on Spotify that I can do that. Is Bonnie's solo stuff up on? No, right?
Basically, no. But she did send a new song of hers from the forthcoming album called 4 Letters that Dr. Demento played recently.
Yeah.
So Dr. D got kind of the sneak preview premiere of that particular song, but I don't think she's released anything else officially yet.
All right, so I'll just put a Library Bard song that features her heavily on the playlist then.
So you're saying a Library Bard song?
A Library Bard song, yes. Well, there's a few that don't feature Xander hardly at all, so it'll be one of those. All right, Luke, did you watch Night Court?
Yeah.
So I'll take it you liked it.
Yeah,
because I woke up to a chain of Facebook posts talking about how bad it was. And I was like, "Oh, that's disappointing."
See, you're mispronouncing it. The thing they were complaining about was a show called Velma.
Well, yeah, that I've seen lots of hate for that too. But
it's like I have not. Okay, I guess you and I follow enough different people that I didn't see any people talking hate about Night Court. I've just seen positive reactions and stuff like that. It got the highest television ratings for a comedy that NBC has had in over 5 years.
I saw that, so happy about that.
And that basically, taking into account all of the changes in the TV landscape, that basically what they got was like equivalent to something like Friends. Like that's how well it did on NBC. So they had their first 2 episodes up. The first one was the pilot. The second one was the first of the proper series continuing. And having been in the studio audience for half of them, the show it's like I can't stand the way we live in a world where everyone expects everyone to be like god tier brilliant, and if it's anything less than that, then it sucks and it's a failure and you shouldn't watch it. It's like remember when people used to give things a chance, and like
one of the people who complained about it said he shut it off after 30 seconds, and I'm like, you can't possibly have formed an opinion unless they said something so horrifically offensive about something you personally got upset about. There's no way you could have formed an opinion in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's because I was curious going into it, just because so much of the original Night Court was based on that kind of late 80s, early 90s comedy where like Dan Fielding is this, depraved, womanizer type of guy. And there was a lot of just, things that would be considered non-PC type humor today with this, this guy who's kind of a jerk. So I was just wondering, how are they going to keep the same flavor, especially with John Larroquette returning as Dan Fielding, and have it still feel like Night Court, without, all of that, potential, stuff that would offend people's sensibilities, for those type of jokes happening today. And I think they pull it off. In fact, there's some episodes where like, one of the ones I saw is like a woman is interviewing Dan Fielding about, his earlier career. And he's like talking about, the person he used to be in the past versus the person he is now. It's like, he's still a curmudgeonly guy who basically can't stand other people. So he's still great. He's John Larroquette. He's freaking killing it. So
cool.
So I don't know what they what these people expect. And I'm just going to continue to ignore all that kind of hate and continue to enjoy this thing that I really like, because based on the initial, response of the general public, it seems like it's going to be a hit and it's going to be around for more seasons, and that makes me super happy. So,
Blacksmith in the chat says he likes it, so there you go.
Who said?
Blacksmith.
Oh, cool.
The other thing I wanted to ask, has anybody seen The Last of Us yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it good?
I didn't play the game. I watched Sarah play the game a little bit, but Sarah said it was amazing, and and I was watching it with Santana, who has played the game enough, and like some of the shots in it are like incredible live action recreations of like the opening scenes, which I personally hadn't seen, but she's like, no, trust me, this is friggin' amazing. And even not having seen that stuff, I thought it was friggin' amazing. I was like, wow, what great camera work, what great, and the story's just super compelling. So yeah, I'd say, it's for how shaky it can be when you do a interpretation of a video game to, some kind of other medium. From everyone I've heard who's actually played the game, like, it's friggin' fantastic. And from what I could see, just on my own, you got Pedro Pascal, you got the Mandalorian. I mean, how can you screw that up? He's just awesome.
Yeah, I want to see it. I've never played the game either, but I've heard wonderful things about it, and I want to see it.
It was a strong first episode for sure, I think.
Cool. All right.
So,
Steven, plug yourself one more time.
Regdar and the Fighters. Everything can be found at regdarandthefighters.com or linked down from there.
Joe, plug yourself one more time.
It's the Right Reverend Jarvis T. Hornswaggle. I never remember the URL because it's a Bandcamp thing. And, of course, find it on the FuMP.
All right.
Hey, there's one more thing we got to talk about, Devo.
The MarsCon fundraiser?
Yes. So as of right now today, we are up to $756 for the MarsCon 2023 fundraiser. Our donors this week were Mr. Ken Sherlock, thank you, Ken, and Mr. Eric Ray, who donated $300. So thank you for being such a huge help. I need to send him a specific email to give him access to the other collections if he wants them or needs them or whatever, since he donated over 200. So yeah, that means we are $444 away from hitting our initial goal.
So he gets 68 hours of live music.
Yeah. Yes, and we are 63% of our way towards the goal. As of today, we were trying to get this happening, and hit the initial goal at least by March 10th, when MarsCon 2023 begins. So if you want to get the just under 4-hour collection of live comedy music from MarsCon 2022, you can get that MP3 album by going to MarsConComedy.com, click on the shop page, you can click on the Buy Now button, and you can pay the $30 and you'll get the link to download it right away. If you would like to get collections from previous years, click on the past fundraisers page so you can see the playlists from all the previous years. You can tell me which ones that you want, and those cost $30 each as well. And then you can send that donation to me via PayPal, and then I'll individually have to email you the links to get those. And if you want to get all 15 collections, which is, as we just said, over 63 hours of content, then you can pay $200, and I will give you access to all of it. Thank you all to both Ken and Eric and everyone else before who has donated. And if you want to help us out, you can donate, and I'll read your name on this podcast for all of the glory and esteem that has. So do the thing. Thank you very much.
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. I'm Devo Spice.
I'm Luke Ski.
And there's other people.
It is Regdar.
Hello.
And a Hornswaggle.
Thank you for listening to the Funny Music Podcast. You can listen live every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific at DementiaRadio.org, and join us in the chat. Or subscribe to the podcast feed. Look us up on iTunes and be sure to leave us a review. Feedback for the show can be sent to info@thefump.com. The Funny Music Podcast is a production of Fidem Interactive, LLC, released under a Creative Commons share-alike license. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, shout it to random people on the street, and be sure to visit thefump.com for the latest funny songs. Tune in next week where you'll hear Luke Ski say...
Dead skank in the middle of the road, it's a dead skank in the middle of the road, it's a dead skank in the middle of the road, singing the high heaven,